Russell, got Russell as well.
Yeah.
Screen.
All right, Al.
There's Alex.
Hello, Al.
Right.
Alex, where's Alex gone?
They look very smart, Noel.
Yes.
Very impressed.
No, it's Christine.
Yeah.
From,
Chris Bain.
no,
Christine
Chris
Bain.
Lambert.
No, Christine Bain, it says.
It was.
It's Ruth,
Yes,
right,
it's Mel
Ruth.
Bain. Alan and I got married years ago now.
What's happening with Beverly, by the way?
Oh, what's happened with Beverly?
Yes, she's called Chris Bain.
No.
I remember that
I just saw it are green, but they've gone again.
Oh, right. It could be Kelton trying to get in. Oh, there's someone there. Who's that?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey!
Oh, John and June.
Who let them in?
Oh, there's the door. Wait.
We
They're all
came in
right.
through the back door.
There's Simon and Mary. Hi, Simon.
Hello.
John and Jude, yes. Hello there.
Hello.
Oh, there's a nice chocolate cake.
Why does my head look smaller than everybody else's?
It is. Got a pin in it.
Bigger.
Get close to the screen, John.
Money.
Just
Right, listen, I'm going to do it through this form. Are you there?
Can hear you.
Can you see my screen?
No.
No.
That's all right.
Can you see my screen?
There.
So I've got to keep it charging.
No.
Does that work?
I can see Ashley's screen.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. They can't hear you.
Family's husband,
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
See
Christine.
Beverly, but can't see you.
I've met him because he gave me a lift home one night from the station. And Chris
If
and
we
I
could
got on
do-
the train together.
Ash, could I ask Ash if you could have your screen horizontal rather than vertical? That's better.
Yeah. He's kind of
If you
running the
must.
screen.
Russell.
Yes, I've had to get me mum through WhatsApp. I couldn't.
Right, okay. Do you want Ashley to WhatsApp your mum then?
Well, I won't to be able to connect with her, but it's
Something
work.
babe.
I've always seen him at Noel's a few times. He lives just a few.
I can see a
I can't see
on Beverly's screen.
Bottom.
yes, hello, Kelsey.
And there's Heights as well.
Ah,
No, they can't hear you.
you've got the point.
I can see you. I can see you from your computer. You've just put your phone in front of the screen now. I can see the back of the phone.
Yeah, I've got my mum on WhatsApp because
right.
she can't get it to work.
Oh,
Right,
shame.
But unfortunately, you can't hear her either. So.
right.
Dear, that's a shame.
Okay,
I think,
Oh, well.
well,
we will have a video.
Yeah, but they can't hear you, mum. That's the trouble.
we can just hear her. Just very,
What's going on?
Okay.
yes, I can hear her.
Yes, we can hear that.
We can hear her.
Oh, good. Oh, good. There you go. I've got you near the microphone now.
Now we've got everyone
Very
here.
much shield hanging on the wall.
So,
Is everybody here?
Anne and Mary are here somewhere. I saw them a minute ago. Oh, there they are, top right now. They've moved.
Thank you, Simon.
quite curious to know how he managed to email himself.
Self.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
self, Simon.
Are we all here?
Mighty Jack.
Yeah, I think
Simon,
we're
you
all here.
know.
I've done that.
RSVP.
How are you?
Got Terry. Yeah, where's Alex gone?
What time is it, Cyprus?
It's 4 minutes to. It's not 2 o'clock yet.
No, we're all right.
We're all
Thinking-
right.
We'll wait another couple of minutes and then we'll pick
I
on.
can't remember who else we've invited.
Terry's around somewhere.
Four, five.
Well, that's because I pointed the camera at you, babe. Do you want to be on it on camera or not?
Chris Lambert, that's what they knew me as.
Great to see you, Noel.
Yeah, there's Colin. 18.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, we're about right.
I can see 16.
Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a row.
Oh,
That's
that's
15,
two.
16, 17, 18. Yeah, well, I think we're good to go.
Okay.
There's an empty one
There's
there.
an empty one. I think that might be Russell with you, with
Ah.
Beverly.
What's he going to do then?
So she can hear us.
Clicked on that. there.
WhatsApp.
That's good.
See anybody else.
So everyone's the right way round.
Everyone's the right way
They're
round.
not like horizontal yet.
Gallery view.
Okay.
Okay, so
It's your artist now, Simon.
Over to Simon.
okay, so my name's Simon Nightingale, and I'm a good friend of Noel and Carol's, and I am your Zoom host. And Noel has asked that I just do a very short Zoom room housekeeping instructions. Now, you may know all this anyway, but for those of you who don't, if you look at the bottom of your screen, it's usually the bottom, there's some icons. If you don't see them, just move your mouse slightly and they'll appear. Over on the far left on the computers, you'll see a little thing the shape of a microphone, which with mute underneath. What I'd like you all to do now is to click on that. And you'll notice then that a line goes through it, and then that mutes you. And you can tell you're muted because you've got a little line through that, and also you'll get a similar one on your little picture as well. So could you all mute yourselves? That's your first exercise. Be a prize for the person who gets everything right. Okay, now the second thing is, next to that, you'll see another little icon of a video camera. Now this event, this book launch event, is going to be recorded, and it'll be edited and put on Facebook. If for any reason, maybe you're wanted by the police or something, you don't want your face to appear, then if you click on that, it'll put a line through it, and then nobody can see your face. You will be able to see and hear everybody, and you can reappear by unclicking it again. And you know the camera is off because you won't be able to see yourself on the screen, and there'll be a line through the video. Now, the next thing I want to show you, also on the bottom line, is a little icon, a speech bubble that says chat. So for example, if I'm going to click on that, a little window appears, and at the bottom it says type message here. And I will type hello. Then when I push return, it comes up, and that's a little message to everybody. Now, people are free to put things in chat at any time during this. If you have a message for Noel or a question, we'll be having some questions and answers later. So that's a little facility you can give, or if you want to give somebody here, a long lost friend, your email address or something like that, you can just put it there and they'll get it. Now, lastly, if you look at your screen at the top right, you'll see a little icon that says view. If you click on that, you can do gallery view, where you see all of you arrayed out there, or you can click speaker view. Now, I've done speaker view, and then just one person will appear there. There'll be other little icons around the side.
I don't know.
Okay. So let me just do that. Okay. So what we're going to do in a moment, I'm going to hand over to Noel to welcome you and introduce the launch. And then he'll ask me to read a passage from God, Land and Iron, and he'll explain the significance of what I'll be reading. Then we'll have a short session of questions and answers. Then Noel will invite Crispin Barker to read from Drogo, and Noel will again explain the context. And after that, more questions and answers. Then the party starts, and we have some champagne. If you haven't already started, yes, you can if you want, but don't finish it before the end. We'll have our champagne and some toasts, and then some more general chit chat. So at this stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute myself and ask Noel to speak. Either Noel or Carol on his behalf.
Hey, ready to go.
Well, welcome everyone. A very great welcome. It's so wonderful to see you all here. It's a very unusual.
Don't try that.
Why did you have to alter it?
Almost because something switched off. It's a very unusual event because it's the virtual book launch. First, it makes me realise that although we hear a lot of
I'm out.
poor things about the internet, this is where we see a very positive use of the technology, because without it, we would be able to get together. And in fact, it's marvelous because this is international gathering. We've got my nephew Russell is of West Canada, Wave Russell. I said that we can see him because he's helping my sister. We've also got my cousin, Yvonne, on the balcony from Malta, Wave, wherever you are. There we are, great stuff. And we finally, an international cohort, of course, for our dear Austrian friends, Heinz and Krista. So give it a wave,
Heinz and Chris.
wherever you are, give it a wave.
Oh, there's another Chris.
Our international friend from Maine.
Oh, right. Not me. Not waving to me.
Hello, Chris.
Just before we get going, I've actually got a couple of apologies. Seems a bit odd. But first of all, as you could hear, my voice has deteriorated quite significantly. I have therefore not going to subject you for very long. I asked Carol to actually introduce the books prior to the actual reading. I was going to do it, but I decided there was far too much of an imposition. I will, however, attempt to answer questions at the end of the reading, should you have any, or respond to comments. The second apology, I think, I forgot what it was now.
Never mind, you'll remember later.
They'll come back to me at some stage, I'm sure. Anyway, I think now we're almost ready to begin the proceedings, are we? So, are we on time, Simon? Are we doing okay?
Yes, everything's fine.
Good, good.
Okay.
So I know what it was. Just come back to me. My second apology. Normally, book launch, you would expect to have one book launched. Well, unfortunately, perhaps for you, you're going to be subject to two books because they're both being published at the same time. Now, that's not because I was writing one with my left hand and one with my right hand. That's because the small matter of coronavirus intervened. And the first book, God Land and I, should have been published at the beginning of last year, but was delayed intermittently. So that's why we now have the two together. However, I hope you enjoyed the session, and I'm really pleased that you could participate in what is for me, I guess, a lifelong ambition to become a writer, as I think I could probably safely say I've established that now. Anyway, let's move on to the next
So it's me.
stage.
That's me then. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about God, Land and Iron before Simon does the chosen reading. This book is about how all three of the title themes interact, providing the background which strongly influences the central character, Nathaniel Shawcroft. 18th century life was often corrupt, violent and inhumane, but it was also a period of the New Enlightenment, which challenged traditional values and authority. It was the attraction of new and radical ideas that led Nathaniel to a different world, where the Shropshire miner developed a mind of his own. Fleeing from certain imprisonment for his radicalism, he escapes to colonial America, where he discovers for himself the hypocrisy, greed, and self-delusion of those purporting to be moral and upright leaders of a grand new society. At home in England, at the dawning of a new technological age, he begins to question whether this will be positive for people or not. Now, the chosen reading is from the very beginning of the story, when we see Nathaniel working in his father's gallery, digging out iron ore. This would have been the sum total of his life, probably a short one at that, had the incident which is described not happened. As it was, it becomes the turning point for his whole life. His experiences thereafter reveal to us the development of a complex character and a man with hidden strengths. So thank you, Simon, for agreeing to read the extract that you're going to do. That'd be great. Thank you.
Nathaniel had got used to the dark, the heat, and the ever-present pools of water. This was his world. For the past 10 years, he'd known little else. Sometimes it was hot enough to imagine himself on a tropical island, a pirate, hiding his plunder on an unmarked isle in the Caribbean. But at other times, he shivered all over from the icy air, as if he'd been caught naked in a wintry wilderness. In truth, he wore little but a dirty, ragged loincloth that barely concealed his decency. But so did everyone else, even the young girls who toiled in the pitch black, dragging their heavy loads from one dim light to another. For 12 hours a day, he scrabbled away at the face of coal or iron ore, careful to avoid dislodging one of the iron-hard wooden props. That was his only defense against being squashed like a beetle between ceiling and floor. He now hardly thought about it, except when part of an unsupported roof suddenly crashed to the ground. Sometimes an unwary miner, having sought a quiet place to relieve himself, disappeared in this manner, only to be missed at the end of the shift when the tally was taken. Instead, he looked for whatever glimmer of beauty he could in his carboniferous environment. Occasionally, the weak light from his cheap tallow candle, secured precariously on his cap, would reveal the outline of an ancient fern etched into the sleek, ebony surface of the scene he was working on. How had it come to be there? There were also many small insects or animals that looked like giant millipedes or pill lice, frozen in death but perfectly shaped. He was told by his father these were the animals that inhabited the earth before the great flood, when Noah and his family survived from among the race of men who had turned too evil to be allowed to live. Why then, he wondered, did he never come across their skeletons? It was a mystery. Before he felt or saw anything, Nathaniel's sixth sense warned him of inexplicable danger. He'd heard of this from other miners who had survived previous disasters. His candlelight did not even flicker, nor did he sense any change in atmosphere. It was almost like when, as a child, walking through the woods by himself, he had a premonition of doom, and the hairs on the nape of his neck would suddenly stand erect, and shortly afterwards he'd see a deer shoot from the undergrowth, startled by his presence. He became aware of time standing still, and the steady sound of his fellow workers further along the gallery sounded small and distant. As he turned his head instinctively to search the inky depths beyond the reach of the yellow light of his tiny candle, he was overwhelmed by a surge of freezing subterranean water. It swept him along like a rag doll in a raging mountain torrent, sending him racing along the seam, crashing cruelly into the iron-hard props which stood supporting the roof at every meter. He felt the sensation of being lifted as the icy water deepened beneath him. He knew where he was going, though he could see nothing, up towards the jet black ceiling, a starless void that would suddenly crash down on him like a lead black coffin lid being closed for eternity. But this was not to be. Gasping for breath and barely conscious, he was vaguely aware of helping hands trying to get a grip on his slithering body and limbs, until the searing heat of an acutely intense pain in his right leg became so powerful that he was lost to all consciousness, and his mind drifted free, seeking release from his bodily trauma. An extraordinary description, and it makes me very grateful that I was a doctor, not a coal miner. So if people have questions about this passage I just read, and I'm very grateful to Noel for giving me the privilege of reading it too, then this is a good time to ask questions. You can, if you like, write them in chat, or you can just raise your hand like this, and I will come to you. If lots of people have the hand raised, then maybe keep your question a little bit shorter. Okay, any questions? Yes, Terry, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is the guy mining coal or iron ore or both?
Well, the miners had to be ready to mine for both coal and iron ore. They did it both, and it depended what was available at the time. And that would vary probably from month to month or period to period. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? Colin, unmute yourself.
Thank you. I very much enjoyed reading the book, Noel. You've done a brilliant job, and it was a great read, and has prompted me to do more research about a lot of things that I didn't know about. I wonder, was Nathaniel Shawcross based upon any particular person who actually did go to the Americas? Was there much toing and froing in those days, or is he completely fictional?
He is completely fictional. There was, however, some trade between the colonies and the Derby family, the Ivory Gorge furnace. They did import some very high quality iron ore from the area, but of course, as you will know from the reading of the book, this was a very politically unstable time where the colonialists were challenging the right of the British authorities to continue to be overlords of them. And there was therefore a question which I posed against fictitiously by the matriarch, Happy Derby, as to whether this source of very valuable and rich iron would still be available to them in the future. It was a question, but there was trade, yes. People don't often realise that. But there most definitely was.
Thanks very much, Noel. Much appreciated.
Cheers.
Any more questions? Raise your hand if you do. Christine, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, we click on that. Yeah, it's Alan actually. Noel, which year did that event occur?
Sorry?
Which year did the event in the mine occur?
No, 1770.
1770.
Yeah, the period of the book of the story covers approximately 5 years, from 1770 to 75. There is a timeline provided in the book itself.
Okay. Thank you.
Useful. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. So, if no more questions, then what I'm going to do is ask for Noel and Carol to introduce the next passage, which will be read by Crispin. So over to you, Noel.
Well, over to you, Carol.
Okay, so this book is Drogo, Romano, Britain. This book is about how, oh, wrong one, sorry, get my paper in order. That's Drogo. The period AD 43 to 70 was not a good time for a young British Celtic warrior to be alive. The second invasion of Britannia by the Romans was merciless for the tribesmen who could not withstand the highly advanced military technology and tactics of the Roman army. Drogo is a young Celtic warrior from the main Cornovii tribe in Shropshire and beyond. The character of Drogo is taken from a short story which I wrote a few years ago. In that, we learn that he has had to leave his home on the Wrekin, where his father was the tribal chief. He travels south, takes up arms with the powerful Catavilorni tribe under their leader Caroticus, spending 2 years resisting the Roman invaders. After a year of heavy fighting and defeats, Drogo realizes that the Romans cannot be defeated and a different strategy must be adopted if the culture and religion of the British Celts is to survive. He tries to warn his father, who will not listen, and subsequently the Iron Age hill fortress is overrun and destroyed by the 14th Legion. He makes an agreement with the Roman governor to leave his people in peace in return for knowledge and information about the area. He becomes an auxiliary, but he is not quite sure what the future will bring or the direction he should go. When treachery compromises his relationship with the Romans, he is forced to join the rebel cause. In the passage selected for reading, we see how his sister, the high priestess Felicia, helps him from afar. This extract provides a key to understanding some main elements of the overall plot. So thank you, Crispin, for agreeing to read the extract. And over.
It's a privilege.
No.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Good. This is the book, folks. Drogo, Romano, Britain. Ostorius Scapula regarded the range of hill fortresses arranged concentrically before him. He had campaigned in North Africa, Syria, and Gaul, but he had not come across anything quite like this. The legion, plus auxiliaries, was lined up in perfect attack formation, with 4 auxiliary cohorts in the centre of the first rank, and the remaining 6 legionary cohorts arranged to one side and behind. With his officers, he had a full view of the battle array from the top of the small hill just behind and to one side of his troops. Scouts reported there were 8 well-established and strongly built forts that were now occupied by the whole force of Cornovi warriors and civilians, including those from the settlement. It would be a daunting task, and what made it worse was that he didn't know who was commanding them and therefore had no way of predicting what they would do. He knew he was likely to lose many men in any kind of action, and that his forces would be severely stretched to carry out a simultaneous attack on all fortresses at once. It was clear the Britons would not come out of their strong positions to attack them. Why should they? They would be well provisioned and probably had sources of underground spring water to sustain them. On the other hand, he could not leave matters as they were. Just as he was about to signal for the first rank to attack the nearest hill fort, the gate opened, and a single chariot with 1 driver and passenger emerged. He was astonished to see it was one of the priestesses from Viriconium, still adorned in her priestly garb, but carrying no weapons, only a branch of mistletoe. There was no tall guard with her. He wondered whether this might be a trick, but when the gate closed behind her, leaving her totally exposed to his forces, he decided it couldn't be. She shouted something. He was too far away to hear, but it was clear she was seeking audience with him. What incredible nerve, he thought. These Britons possessed seemingly endless supplies of bravery and courage. He could have made an example of her there and then, stripping her naked and crucifying her before her people. But he didn't. It wasn't really in his nature. Instead, he signaled for her to approach, and when the skillfully driven chariot had weaved its way across the uneven terrain to him, she jumped out and spoke in flawless Latin. "Governor Scapula, I'm glad to see you here, although I doubt you are glad to be here." She smiled disarmingly at him. Then, in a more serious vein, Belicia continued, "You will remember my brother Drogo offered you a way of avoiding just such a confrontation as we may have here. I know you think, because you've been told so, that he is a traitor and now rides with Caraticus against you and all Romans. I have to tell you, this is not so. It is true he is with Caraticus, but as a prisoner, and if they refuse to rise against you, they will all be executed. Fortunately, he was able to get a message to me, allowing me and my people to escape north. You cannot deny that had you found us at the settlement, you would have reaped your vengeance upon us after the battle at Caer Caradoc. Here is his personal amulet, which was sent with a message that under no circumstances should the Cornovii take up arms against you. All we have done thus far is to protect ourselves, which we will continue to do from our fastnesses here." "It's hard to believe what you say when I view the corpses of those that were killed trying to arrest you." "Think," she persisted. "What made you believe my brother was a traitor, when in fact he had placed himself in the most dangerous part of the battle? Was it not what the chief centurion of the auxiliary force told you? Perhaps he neglected to tell you that Gallio, whom my brother killed justifiably as he was trying to rape me, not only his sister, but a priestess of the sacred grove by the Hafren, the river you know as Sabrina, is related to him as his nephew. It was therefore blood revenge he sought, not justice. And he was prepared to do this against the interests of Rome. For rest assured, if you do not accept my word, you will have another difficult and dangerous tribe against you. Bilicia didn't wait for his answer, but turned quickly around and, jumping into the chariot, sped off back to the fortress from which she had come. The governor pondered over her words, going back in his mind over what he had been told by the high centurion. All of what she had said made sense, and his feelings confirmed it. He gave the command to return to Rochester, but he also decided to leave scouts to observe the comings and goings of those in the fortresses. He hoped his trust in both Drogo and his sister would not prove to be misplaced. Thank you.
All
Are
right.
there now any questions for Noel?
Mary.
Susan, unmute yourself.
Thank you for that opportunity to hear an extract. Noel, it's one thing to imagine a story. It's another thing to actually be able to write and complete a novel. But I imagine the element of doing the historical research was a completely separate experience. I'm just really interested in what that experience was like for you and where on earth you start researching a historical novel.
Well, yes, the researcher, whether it's for an academic text, project or novel, will probably start in the same place, so that's Wikipedia. Then you make damn good use of the links. There is a well-provided bibliography where I do identify the sources that provide a timeline for the period and a glossary of the historical characters and events. So that's where I began. But of course, it's not a simple matter of recounting history. If it were, that would be boring. If we're talking creative writing, you have to imagine yourself into the time that the characters, and the more you immerse yourself in the many sources that you may come across, which you may never use as such, helps you get the feel. And then you rely on, well, you rely on what you might call intuition. Some people call talent. Mine would be very glorious to claim that, of course. But you just wait for the story to tell itself. Once you've got the characters, that they do begin to take life, then you know you're right. But with a historical novel of this kind, of course, it's very rich in historical events, like locations. The great risk or danger for a writer is to rely too heavily on them. You have to allow yourself more, allow the characters of the story to evolve naturally. So I hope I've done that. Does that answer your question, Sue?
Well, I'm sure we could talk for hours about this, but yes, thank you very much, Noel.
Cheers.
Any other questions? Raise your hand if you have a question.
There was
Oh, yes, Christina. Well, unmute yourself. That's
Yes, sorry, I just remember how to unmute myself there. Thank you. No, that's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing this. You started to talk about character, and I started to wonder, were there any characters in particular that you had a sort of soft spot for, that you, when you were writing this, you sort of thought to yourself, oh, you know, you felt maybe an affinity with them, or maybe some sort of interest somehow?
Well, obviously the main character, that's a given. I think I became quite besotted with his sister, Patricia, yes. But there is another character later on in the book who you haven't heard of yet. One of the prompted us, one of the Roman governors, not Roman governors, one of the senior officers of the 22nd Legion, which I think was based at York, Deborah, and he becomes involved with and subsequently very friendly with Drogo, has turned out to be a very useful ally. Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I thought I saw one somewhere.
I'd like to.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes, Christine.
Me, Carol. I'd like
Oh, Carol, Camel, ask a question.
Yeah. What authors have influenced Drogo, do you think? What influence other authors would you take? Maybe, was it Cornwall?
Well, you mean the book itself, rather than Drogo as a character?
Yeah.
Well, there'll be quite a few attempts to write about historical Roman novels. I think Rosemary Sutcliffe, but that was mainly, well, it was almost a young person's book, The Eagle of the Night, which I think is a little bit superficial. In this novel, I wanted to present something a little bit deeper, but not too deep as to become academic, nor to put off the general reader. Not Bernard Cornwell, so I don't know, he's a good entertaining read, but no, he's middle-brow, and I find him rather tedious after a while, so no, I wouldn't say him at all.
It's just that we've spent so much time poring over the manuscript. I don't really feel I know the characters that well. I've looked at so many spellings of Catavalorni and Cnovi, you know, I know all those, but I don't really know the characters particularly well.
But I'm sorry about that.
I'll have to read the book now.
Oh, horrors of horrors. Yeah. Barry, is it someone?
Other questions? Raise your hand. Yes, John, unmute yourself.
Hi, Noel.
Hi, John.
We've got the book on order and we're really looking forward to reading it. I just wonder whether you could say something about that glorious shield that sits just behind you.
Ah, yes. That is actually the Latin scutum. That's the design on it is the standardized used in the Roman army for over 400 years. Of course, you cannot, it's a symbolic drawing of the Roman eagle, and it's absolutely splendid. I actually obtained it from English Heritage because I did a gladius, but we haven't got that show. We didn't think I could stick it anywhere.
Thank you, Noel.
You're welcome.
Russell?
Yes. R. Green, I don't know what your name is, I'm sorry. Unmute yourself.
I do. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Right, I do apologise that I keep flickering in and out on the picture. It's just that I don't have the best setup here. I have a laptop and then I have work screens. So in order to see you both, I'm having to look up at my work screen. So I do apologise for that. I just wanted to say, firstly, thank you very much for inviting me to this book launch. Wow, what a phenomenal experience and what an amazing achievement, Noel. But I would further add that those two readings, the depth of detail that you've put into there is quite amazing. You know, it's completely blown me away. And obviously clearly the amount of work you put into this shines through. So this leads up to my question is, how do you feel when you come to the end of the book? You have actually, I guess, I can only envisage, become part of those characters. They are very much real to you. So is it a bittersweet experience, or does those characters just erase from your mind, or will they always be a part of you now?
Well, thank you for your questions, Russell. It's so good to see you shivering all the way over those temperatures, no doubt. Those characters will remain a part of me.
Okay.
When you get to the end, well, you're pleased that you've completed it, but when you've completed the first draft, there's a hell of a lot more work to do. And that's when I rely on people like Crispin, who helped enormously with both books, in fact, for proofreading, then with grammar, that even questions about plot, characterization, and the whole experience has been an absolutely fulfilling one. But I have created something I hope that will last well beyond my time.
Yeah. Well, it will certainly do that. Any other questions or just comments or things you want to say? Anybody else at this stage? There'll be more chance to talk later as well. Yes, Christine Bain. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Christine. Bottom left of your screen.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, done. Yeah. Sorry. Well, my original question was very similar to Susan's because, Noel, I realise that the finished book is just like the tip of an iceberg, really, with all the research that's gone on underneath. So I won't talk about reference sources because I think that's been covered. You write about very local things. Is that because you live here, or do you have your does your family come from this area? Have you got very strong connections to Shropshire and the Wrekin?
Well, my family now comes from here, yes. But no, not prior to that. I come from the north. from the country of the Brigantes.
Okay.
Learn about what you read, well, if you read Drogon. But no, I've lived here for nearly 40 years now.
Oh, wow.
And it's very much a part of me. I began with writing short stories based on the rigging, largely because I was horrified to discover beyond the basic childish folklore and mythology, there seemed to be nothing available about the area. But then after I'd written that, which was self-published, so it's very difficult to assess how widely it was received. I thought there should be another one. And I planned to write a second volume of short stories, but when I started off the follow-up to the Rovers plot, I discovered it was much deeper and broader than I realized. So we got the novel from it. But the other one, the other book, of course, that was based on Property to Brigadia, which was just up the road. I didn't realize where the Dave Brigadia came from until I did the research. But Fury was actually the chief of the Godovites, Drogo's father. He was a real character. The settlement that they established after the destruction of the Iron Age fortress by the river, which we're all familiar with, was named after him. Now the other book, of course, is based on mainly Goldbrook now. And really the origins of what we call, what everyone knows to be called, the Industrial Revolution, with the building of the iconic Iron Bridge in 1775, when it was finally completed. But the planning for that was much earlier. But when I started to look at it, I was curious to discover just how people's lives were being affected by this incredibly rapid changes, a massive increase in population. Mainly was the main centre. Goldbrook now was just an industrial outpost. At the time, the Iron Bridge didn't exist. Then I discovered how rich the area was. The new religion, if you like, the evangelicals, developing in the Church of England, who were highly critical of the corruption and ossification of the Church of England. John Wesley came to the area quite a few times to address people. He was invited by the very charismatic local vicar, John Fletcher, a real character widely read about. And I was lucky enough to discover the basic source with PhD research paper presented at a conference of, well, it was not just interface. It was actually about women and the religion at that time, and it was organized by the Wesleyan Church, and they proved to be an extremely valuable source. I never heard of John Fletcher, but in fact he was Jean Flechier. He was Swiss, but he spoke with a very pronounced French accent. Now he was highly charismatic and did an awful lot for people in the area, building, reading house, and then now more schooling for the locals as well. But there's another great influence from a religious source too, with the Quakers. And of course, that's where the Derby family figures significantly, because they were the chief leaders of the local Quakers. Papier Derby was one of the foremost. As she actually spoke out in meetings at a time when women were usually ignored and elbowed aside. But not naive as she wasn't, nor was John Fletcher's wife. That when he died, she took over a lot of his missionary work and travelled up and down the length of England at the same time. So I found that mainly of Coalbrookdale in Shropshire, this pathetic little backwater that most people have never heard of, was actually far more significant historically and socially than most people would know. That's one of the things I wanted to bring out. I hope the book does justice to it.
That's fascinating, and I really think nobody needs Wikipedia when you got Noel. I mean, he just knows everything. I could listen to you for hours. You're a real polymath, a Renaissance man, a product of the Enlightenment in so many ways. So I think at this stage we've reached what you might call party time. So those of you who haven't opened your champagne, and open it now, pour yourself a glass, because in a short while I'm going to make a toast, a sort of multiple toast. You see, I'll just talk while you're getting your champagne ready. Most normal people, when they get older, okay, they wind down. Most normal people with limited mobility become resigned to doing just a little. I don't think Noel's normal. Thank God. I mean, you know, he is, Carol agrees with that. She doesn't think it's normal either. Okay. I mean, today we've learnt about 2 new books, fascinating books, written the hard way. And if you've seen Noel writing with his lips, nothing else, it is an extraordinary endeavor, a combination of human fortitude and extraordinary technology. But he's been writing for years. He's been writing poetry for years. I've got a book of his poetry here, including some books, some wonderful poems about what it is like to have motor neuron disease. And that was very moving and illuminating. I'm a neurologist, so I sort of come to it from a slightly different perspective, but to hear that was extraordinary. And as you know, he's also produced, he was talking about it earlier, this delightful book of short stories. about the Wrekin. Really interesting, informative, engaging, amusing, and very moving at times as well. But the book that really knocked me sideways is this, Hard Day's Journey into Night. And this is an extraordinary book written by an extraordinary man about an extraordinary man, going from his early childhood in New Zealand through a fulfilling career in further education and his life, a full and very active life with Carol, who's been central to his life, and without whom he wouldn't have achieved very much at all. It's a book that underscores Noel's resilience in the face of a problem that would have crushed us, I believe. And a book illustrates his strong moral values and his determination that has led him to take on the highest courts in the land over basic human rights. So at this stage, I'm going to launch a multiple toast. So raise your glasses. So this toast goes to Drogo, okay, and to Nathaniel and the books we've just launched. It also goes to the wonderful author, Noel, and his equally wonderful wife, Carol, both of whom I'm proud to call my friends. It also goes to you lot, his friends and family. And lastly, it goes to Noel's next book, to Noel.
To Noel.
And the idea now is that we just chat. Noel, is there anything you'd like to say at this stage?
Well, I'm not overwhelmed really by what you've said, by everyone's presence here, for which I've been intensely grateful, as I sincerely hope that by writing does you all justice, because it is rubbish.
We'll tell you.
You will tell me. Yes, absolutely. That the book will be bought, unfortunately. But I don't believe that, because I believe what I produce has value, both in terms of the content and the way it's been written. So, lovely to meet you.
I could take, have you got one for us? I'll drink yours.
I've had great support from one or two of my carers who are here today. I'll be lattice at that. Of course, they help me every day.
Come and say hello. Come on behind us.
Yeah. And I'd like you to show some appreciation
Yeah, down there, down.
waving. Because they are the first class. My world would be a upside worse. First, not only for good cares, but also for Carol here. Sometimes we shout at each other.
Nice.
But strangely enough, we're still together at the end of the day. Even though we threat divorce, that's the wrath of God. And I'm afraid that people in that situation, and Carol's are probably well aware of this. Not those outside, that's a very great knowledge of the stresses that are placed on people's lives. But one of the things that I think just kept me going is writing, which I would not have been able to do without the support of Carol. That's others, but obviously Carol has been a mainstay. So I thank you all so much for participating in this event. I hope it hasn't been too tedious for you. And I hope you go out and buy the book if you're so good.
Hi, Ash.
Of course.
So, in a way, this book launch is sort of winding up now.
Yeah.
And in your own time, you can make your farewells and leave as you like. This Zoom room will remain open. If any of you want to linger on and chat to Noel or chat among yourselves, that's fine. I just suggest that when you're not actually talking, mute yourself. And if everybody's starting to talk at once and you can't hear anything at all, we might have the hands up thing. But I think we could probably manage the odd conversation just on your own. And so,
Thank you.
Thank you, Simon.
Yes, it is. We're both grateful to Simon for what he's done.
Nice.
Time and effort that he's put into this event has been really quite phenomenal. He's a true friend.
And Mary, give Simon a clap as well.
I'd like to thank you all. I don't know whether you can hear me or not.
Yes, we can.
Oh, you can hear me.
Lovely.
Oh, I didn't know. But thank you very much for all your readings and all the real history of both the magazines and the members. And I would like to say that the first one would bring a really good film.
Will do.
And also we may intersect and just say thank you to the readers, as I felt like I was actually there amongst them.
Yes.
They were so in depth with the reading.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. Thank
Yes,
you.
indeed. Well, they've both got good voices, haven't they? Oh,
Bit
really.
like me, Noel. Bit like me, we went to the same school.
You went to the same school?
Yeah,
That's right.
We won't say anything about that. Yes, what's going to say? Yeah, I do want to stir, but that is that's good.
Very nice.
My next book. I'm a third the way through the next book, which is also a historical novel, but it is far older period than either of the other two. This will be called Good. The third of you who know about Gurgut know that they are the burial mounds that the great Eurasian steppe, or steppe as if Russians pronounce it, stretching from the Crimea to Siberia. And in 3,500 years ago, about the Scythians. So I attempted to outline and describe their way of life that connected with the many archaeological finds which be is the Eurasian steppe. I hope to be able to continue that.
Noel?
We shall see.
Can you
Sorry?
Now, I'd just like to express our congratulations on the latest books. I've read Tales from the Hills, which I really enjoyed, and From the Hill, which I really enjoyed. And it's very nice to know I can look forward to a further story in the same vein. I guess that many people think they've got one book in them, but you're a shining example. To produce 5 in your circumstances is just fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers to everyone.
It's Richard. Hey, Rick and Barbara.
Well,
Now then, Noel,
are
you thinking of resurrecting something that some people may be familiar with, Citizens of Britannia?
That never really did see the light of door, did it?
No.
That was right, for those of you who don't know, it was where I wrote a political manifesto for a new party, but it was overtaken by Brexit. Not the coronavirus, so I didn't really finish it.
I believe Alex Salmond has taken a leaf out of your book, but anyway, mustn't say that.
Only thanks to the arcane Scottish system.
Yeah.
You may. Yeah, go on, Ash.
There's a couple of nibbles as well, Dad. The way.
I think Heinz wants to say hello as
Oh,
well.
yes.
Hi, Heinz.
Hello, Heinz.
You have to unmute yourself, Heinz. Unmute. Yeah. No, still not there.
Do you want a salmon thing?
Can
you hear me now?
Yes. I can hear you now, yeah.
Heinz.
Hello from this side of the continent. Or from the island. No, this was really very interesting because the memories that the episode that was quoted that Simon was reading brought back lots of memories from Ironbridge.
Nice.
And also your comment on this was really very nice. Yeah. So and again, it's a sort of revisiting you when we were in England at your birthday party.
Yes.
And I remember lots of faces here. Yeah. Okay. So it was great being with you, and we just wander off now because we're going to see Johanna, and Johanna sends her regards.
Thank you. I do reciprocate.
Yeah.
Thank you for sending it to us. Again.
So all the best to all of you, and we'll hear from you, and we'll talk to you, Noel and Carol.
That'd be lovely.
In due course.
Yes,
Ashley.
cheers, Krista.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be
Bye.
lovely. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Hi, Malcolm.
Hi, Malcolm.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good to see you.
Ah,
Yeah, good,
yes.
thanks.
Yeah. Is Yvonne not with you, Malcolm?
Unfortunately, she had to go away, unfortunately, with Sasha.
Oh,
Had to
dear.
go and pick up a friend of ours who's not too well.
Oh, dear.
Unfortunately, we're in lockdown totally now, and we're not allowed out. The shops are all shut and everything. So it's a bit dicey going out at the moment.
Yes.
And she's had a jab and I haven't. So I'm staying at home. I'm not even moving out the place. But apart from that, we're all well. It's nice and sunny here. We're about 18, 19 degrees. So it's very pleasant to sit out in the garden and just enjoy the weather. But I'm looking forward to your books. We've ordered them, but like you were saying, Brexit is interfered with everything. Everything's taking months to get here now, up to 3-4 weeks just for a postcard. So and now they're slamming on charges, VAT and
customs charges, and it's just chaotic over here. You're not feeling the blunt of it, but countries over here really are suffering. If you try to buy anything from the UK, it's just appalling. Really
Where are you?
Where are you, Malcolm?
I live in Malta.
Oh,
right.
So we're a little tiny island, and they haven't grabbed hold of all the problems. They all think they can get away with it, but the fact is we're probably now the worst affected in Europe per proportion of deaths and cases. So we're being very, very careful. It's going to kill the tourist industry altogether now. Yeah. Because it will not open this year, I doubt it. Anyway, we still healthy and fine. None of us have caused anything, so touch wood.
Yeah, stay safe. Yeah,
And
stay
the same
safe.
to all of you. I hope nobody's had problems at all. Well,
I'd love to if also Sasha.
I will indeed. I'm sorry they're not here, but it just came up. We had a phone call, so they've gone. And I said, well, I'll still carry on. But
thank you.
No problem. We're looking forward to when all the restrictions have gone again and we can pop back over to the UK and see, you know.
That would be great.
It will be lovely. Okay.
Thanks for the invite. We've really enjoyed it.
We'll see
Congratulations.
We'll see you out in the lane, I'm sure, very soon.
We hope we'll be down the road very shortly.
Right, thank you.
When the weather warms up, we'll be there.
yes.
Cheers.
Bye.
Too, I think, next week.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
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 Where's Alex? Is Alex there?
He will.
Hello,
Yes,
Alex.
yes, he's
All
there.
right. Do you want to say anything, Al? Nice to see you.
Hi, Al.
Hi, Al.
Sorry, Hannah's just unmuted the.
Hi there.
Yeah. Can you hear us okay?
We can now. Hi, Hannah. Lovely to see you.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for those book readings. I very much look forward to delving into them. I've not had God, Land and Iron yet, but I'm actually quite interested to give that one a good read.
We'll ask Ashley to bring it back for you.
Well, we have, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Is the champagne good?
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you. I'll be asleep in a minute.
Well, you've got a cooking lesson, haven't you?
I've got a cooking lesson, so we'll be full and a bit tipsy.
A bit tipsy. Perfect. Yeah, definitely.
Go really well.
Okay. Well, we'll hopefully see you not in the not too distant future.
Yeah, hopefully I'll try and be down mid-April sort of time.
That'd be great.
You
take care.
Yes, so
Rest.
Yeah. Cover fully.
I think we're going to have to drop off now because Hannah's got her lesson. So
Yes, fine. No problem.
thank you. Bye.
We look forward to you to stay.
Okay. Take care, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Noel, Carol, I'm off as well now.
Hello, lovely. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, and Noel, I missed talking to you about books. I've really missed that bit. So, never mind, but it was lovely being here. And my one glass of wine, champagne. Thank you, it's so great.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to come round soon and talk about books with us. That'd be lovely.
Brilliant, yeah. Okay, see you both.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
I will when I can do it.
It's the leave button.
Thank you, Noel and Carol, for including me in the book launch, and thanks for the champagne. That was a lovely touch.
Oh, nice.
Oh, well, you got to have a book launch without some bubbly, could you?
Yeah.
We have to do it in style.
Yeah, we'll do it in style.
No.
Lovely. And I hope to see you soon.
Yeah. You too. You take
Bye,
care.
Ashley.
Yeah.
Good to see you as well.
See you soon, Sue.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And John and Jude off.
See you soon.
See you, John and Jude. Back to your drum kit, John.
Oh, yes.
Bye.
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 Fine.
Where's Helen? It's Helen. Gosh,
Hello,
Helen, you've got
Helen.
long hair. What's happened to your
I
hair?
know. I look like bloody Phil Spector.
Haircut. Knockdown haircut. Have you got the
I need a haircut.
Oh, I've never
Yes.
seen you with long hair. Oh, you did when you got married, you had long hair.
Yeah, I haven't had long hair since.
Oh.
It's all fallen out living with Crispin.
That's very unkind.
True.
Oh, it's lovely to see you both.
Yes, and thank you for organising it. A brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Thanks for the champagne.
Yeah, thanks for the champagne.
Office.
And Noel, it's been an absolute privilege working with you on your books.
Oh, that's very good of you to say so.
Well, I'm not just saying it, I mean it. Thank you very much.
Been a great help. It's useful to have someone who's an English teacher as well. But we've had some interesting discussions about the English language. Yes.
Yeah, we have, yes. And may we continue to do so.
Ah, yes. Surprising how stable the language is.
Absolutely.
When you start writing to discover that.
Just on that one, I was checking out pronunciations yesterday, and there was a suggestion that Belicia should be suggested Belicia.
Ah, well, we've
And
all
I thought, I'm sure Noel wouldn't want a Belicia beacon in his books.
Belicia.
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 Yes, the that is a Celtic they don't Roman.
Exactly.
But even Roman names, we only sometimes have a vague notion of how they're pronounced.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to see you and Helen
Yes.
soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as I say, I think we'll sign out now. But thank you ever so much for organising it all, and a particularly nice champagne.
I thought so also. Well read, Crispin.
Well read, Mr. Barker.
Okay, yes, thank you very much, folks. Okay,
Cheers.
bye.
Bye, mate.
Bye. Bye.
You want to slurp?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I think we had better sign out now. Just one thing, I object to the fact that I've got leave on my computer, but not remain. So, political bias there. In all his works, certainly the literary stuff that I've looked at and spoken to with Noel, it illustrates his pure professionalism and thoroughness, and a polymath, as I think Simon said, approach to the world, to life, and his resilience. And I do hope certainly that soon we will, meet again in non-virtual circumstances. Thanks everybody. Thank you, for all of you for hosting it, for the champagne. It's been a lovely afternoon. I wish you well in your future ventures, and I do honestly think, and I'm happy to work with you on a revamp of the Citizens of Britannia. I would love to see that, and I think those of you who have a chance to read it would agree with me. That again is an interesting work. Thanks for everything, and we'll see you soon, Noel and Carol. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Barbara.
Hi, Noel and Carol. Elaine's commented that she hasn't seen Carol drinking any champagne yet.
It's all right. I've been out of view.
She was connected to it intravenous.
Yeah, look, there it is. It's hooked up.
What a fabulous afternoon.
Yes. Yeah, it's been very good. We've enjoyed it.
And I enjoyed reading it. and it's I'm going to read it again. There's all sorts of hidden little snippets and bits of information, and I realised how completely ignorant I am about the American Wars of Independence and all of that. I've just never come across it before. So thanks for introducing me to that. And Elaine's going to read it as well.
That's my turn next.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
If you could write a
Thank you both.
Yeah, write a review as well. That'd be
better.
lovely.
Yes, I will.
That'd be great. If people read it, write a review. That'd be lovely.
I'll ask Noel to vet my review before I publish.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
We're going to say farewell as well. Noel, thank you very much for the invite, even though we just made it by skin of our teeth due to my inability to email you effectively. Simon, thank you for hosting and reading, and yeah, it's been a lovely experience. So we have some nice weather and we can meet in gardens soon, so hope to be doing that before long. So cheers everyone.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So long.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
There's Ruth.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for inviting me. It's been lovely.
Good to see you.
And I will be reading the books, obviously. And thank you for the readings. The readings were good. In fact, the first one, I wanted to ask a question, but it was basically what happens next. And I thought, all you'll say is buy the book. So I didn't. Anyway, I'm hoping at some point soon I'll be able to come over and see you.
That'd be nice.
Yes, with some of that marvellous.
Yeah, that's what's
Birmingham curry.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I had a takeaway last Sunday for a change, and I thought of you while I ate it.
Oh, right, that's kind.
Good, whatever felt to do.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be able to do when, but as soon as I can, I shall be on, in touch. And
well, I like your hair as well. Your hair suits you.
Yeah, it's actually grown. It was about an inch long before.
Yeah,
I got
complete departure.
Eh? Yeah, the bullshit.
No, I can't see very well, so.
That's because
it's a mess. It's probably just as well. Anyway, it's lovely to see you. And hello, Ashley.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Anyway, I'm off now, so I'll be in touch.
All right.
And I'll do my book shopping.
You take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Stop round the corner.
I'd just like to say, Noel, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, once again, thank you very much for inviting me. In fact, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try and get a hold of a copy ASAP and then go.
No, don't do that. Don't do it. They've been posted to you, both of them.
Oh, crikey. Oh,
yeah, they're both winding their way across a steamship, probably.
Well, that's incredible generosity, and I think one act of kindness deserves another. So what I will do, Noel, is I'll make a donation to your charity for the that you've been supporting. At the very least, I can do that. But what I was going to add is that I'm going to start going around the bookshops, because I think you'll be a hot seller over here. And this time next year, as in the words of Del Boy Trotter, you'll be a millionaire.
Hey, excellent. Can't wait.
That publishers do use Baron and Noble.
Lord Noble and Baron.
Noble. Baron and Noble, who are the chief distributors of books in the US.
Oh, good.
On their list. So do go into the shop
and ask for
I certainly will. I'll take a photograph of it on the shelf for prosperity.
Yeah. Even better. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, once again, it's been great seeing you both. You're both looking great, to be honest. And
we do brush up well.
Yeah, no, it's that's all good things. And hopefully, once COVID passes, I do want to get over there again, and I would thoroughly enjoy meeting.
Oh, it'd be lovely to see you.
That would be, yes, if you were to come down to
okay.
Mum as well.
With us,
and you can stay with us if you want.
That is very kind. Thanks again. So once again, thank you and take care and enjoy the rest of the day. This is a very monumental moment, and I hope that the good feelings last for a lot longer too.
Well, thank you.
Thank
You've all
you,
made
Russell.
it possible. Cheers.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Don't get cool.
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate, thank you for the invite. Christina and I have really enjoyed the talks and the readings today. It's been great, very different, very civilized, and very nice. I was thinking, obviously you've got your project of your book about the steps, but maybe a thought after that might be one to do with Scotland, I was thinking, because I found out maybe about a month, there was, I had to get a plumber in, there was a leak. You're allowed to get plumbers in if it's for essential business. And he sorted that, and in idle chatting, it came out that the Kingdom of Strathclyde, which is where I live, formerly people used to speak Welsh. So with your fascination with ancient Britons, you know, I think there's something there, maybe a follow-up, something about Scotland I think might be a way forward. But thanks again for the champagne and for the invite, and take care all of you. Thank you.
Love to the kids as well.
Yeah, that's very kind. Can I just say it was a beautiful event, absolutely lovely. The readings were wonderful. So just got me right in there. And I've also got to say, Simon, I need to channel your poise, your grace, your wonderful sort of tone of voice when I've got all my sort of online meetings, because I thought I want to be like you. I want to write like Noel, and I want to be like Simon in the way I talk on when I'm on all the Zoom meetings that I have. So thank you so much. It was beautiful. It was lovely. And I'm so pleased that you've invited us. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. Lovely to see you, Christina.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's
just.
We've
got Holly. Got big screens.
Holly, yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Holly's our technical.
No, tell me this. I think they talk funny in Strathclyde because they're drunk, not because they're Welsh. That's what I've always understood.
Well, yes.
She's actually Canadian, though.
Yeah, she's Canadian.
She's Canadian.
Yeah, she's Italian Canadian.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact. But yeah, Celtus has been totally unscathed by the Scottish lilt, as you might say.
Yeah, he's from Blackburn.
He's a proper Northerner, yes. But I mean, what Christina was saying there about your voice, Simon, is totally on the spot.
Yeah,
it's 1 in a million. You ought to be working for the BBC.
Yeah.
Well, talking of voices, Noel, I was surprised how easy it was to understand you compared to on the phone. I really struggle. And I think it's partly because you've got a little bit of body movement in the head and you can see the lips a little bit. And I think you were actually very easy to understand.
Yeah,
I was worried about that because I wouldn't want people not to understand what you said. So that was good.
I was worried about that too.
Yeah, he spoke to me this morning after the phone call, and I reassured him that it was the mobile phone that was the problem, not the
so. Yeah.
Technology, I think. But I did put either that or you were going deaf.
I didn't catch that. What did you say? I tell you, you've got some lovely friends, haven't you? Now, how many of those were relatives and how many friends?
Well, Terry was my son. Alex is our son. Ashley's here. Heights and Krista, that's Noel's daughter, Ashley. Okay. Heights and Krista from Austria. Russell from Canada, which is your nephew.
Yeah, there was about 5 sisters, so about 6 to 8 were relatives, and the remainder
were friends.
Friends. Yeah. But yes, you're right. We do.
Well, I tell you, I think that the chatty bit at the end was brilliant, wasn't it? I didn't know how it was going to work. that it
No,
really worked. And I went around muting a few people when they weren't talking, because if they whispered to them, it all interfered. But it was, I thought it worked really well. It had a lovely atmosphere the whole day, hasn't it?
It did, yes. I wasn't sure how it would go.
No, I wasn't sure either.
It went very well, but yeah.
Champagne helps.
Would have been working hard behind the scenes.
Yeah, Holly, thank you for being there. I tell you, I'm so concentrating on trying to get the recording right and the right sort of frames and things. To know you're there to handle anything else that's going on, it just makes.
I've got to say, what an honour it was to, even if it was on a technical support level, just to have been able to attend. I'm so grateful. It was a lovely event, and it's really nice to see you both. You've completely shown me up. I turned up and I thought, gosh, I'm very underdressed. And I saw you.
Not a history of upstaging people, for his
of course.
birthday, he did the same, and everyone said, "Oh, I should have dressed more." He did exactly the same.
Well, quite right, Noel, I think.
If you're proposing to be a writer, you should at least attempt to look like what.
Oh yes, well you're halfway there in that case, aren't you?
I should see the grumpy, yeah. No shoe made this possible, so.
Oh no, well, it was, maybe I tweaked a little bit, but it was fun. You did it. I mean, you're the star. I was just the editor, or not that. You know what I mean? Master of ceremonies.
We look forward to seeing the video.
We do.
Yeah. Look, I want to come and see you before too long.
Yeah.
I don't mind sitting in the garden or talking through the window or something, but just.
Well, sit where you did last time. We don't have a problem with that.
Okay, so I might come over and see you because, I enjoy talking sort of philosophy, you know what I mean, about important things, and not many other people do. Holly's a good intellectual person, but I don't get to talk to her either. Anyway, I'm old enough to be her great grandfather. Anyway. Okay, listen, lovely to see you, and I'll send you a record of this when it's all.
Holly, before you go, do let us know if you don't get your champagne, because we need to chase.
Well, I have. It's you'll possibly laugh in that my partner has admitted we had a parcel delivery. This is for Noel, and as he wasn't quite aware that was for us, he said, "Oh, Noel doesn't live here," so away they went.
Oh well. They phoned up and I said, I've never heard of Dead Entry Street.
Because I did it all and we didn't have a surname for you, so I thought, well, if I just put Noel Conway.
So I said,
oh gosh, what a shame.
Well, we'll get it at some stage, I'm sure.
I'm sure we will. And I'll now warn him. Anything for Noel, please accept it.
Anything. Crates of whiskey, Kalashnikovs, camels, anything of Noel.
No, thank you. I appreciate that you sent it. I really do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. I'm gonna ring off now. So bye, everyone. And Holly, thanks.
Take care, everyone.
And it's been an honour. It's been a great honour. Bye bye.
Bye bye.